Welcome to part 3 of video 5, where we are breaking down everything you need to know about your home internet Wi-Fi and mobile plans. First, let's talk about Wi-Fi, your home internet. In Germany, just like electricity, it depends on where you live. If you are a student living in a student residence, the internet is usually included in the rent, so there is no internet contract to worry about. If you live in a WG, a shared apartment, there is probably an active Wi-Fi connection already. In that case, you just share it with your roommates and the cost is split between everyone. If you live in a private apartment, you usually have two options. Sometimes you can take over the previous tenant's internet contract if they are willing to leave it behind and the price makes sense for you. Otherwise, you will need to sign up for your own internet connection. In this video, we will show you how. It's a 5-step process. First, you need to know what type of internet technologies are available at your address. Second, you need to understand internet speeds and what they actually mean in everyday use. Third, we will look at internet contracts, not just the price but also contract length and cancellation rules. The fourth step is getting to know the major and smaller providers in Germany so you can choose the one that fits you the best. And finally, we will walk through how to set up the router at your home. So, the first step is to find out what type of internet connection is available at your address. In Germany, there are 3 main technologies used for home internet. The first one is DSL, which delivers internet through the telephone line. In your apartment, you will usually find a telephone wall socket like the one you see on the screen. This type of socket is called a TAE port. DSL is the most common internet connection in Germany. To give you some perspective, we have lived in 4 different apartments and all 4 had a DSL connection. DSL is very stable because each household has its own dedicated line. It is not shared with neighbors, so during peak hours, you usually won't notice a drop in performance. The downside is speed. In theory, DSL can reach up to 250 megabits per second, but that's the best case scenario. In practice and based on our own experience, most offers will be up to 100 megabits per second. The second type is TV cable called Kabel in Germany. This means internet delivered through the TV line. In your apartment, you will find a TV cable socket, also known as a multimedia socket like the one shown on the screen. Cable internet is a bit less common than DSL, but it's still widely available. In the 4 apartments we have lived in, 3 of them had a cable connection. Compared to DSL, it's slightly less stable because the bandwidth is shared with your neighbors, so you might notice small drops in performance during peak hours. The big advantage is speed. Cable internet is faster than DSL, with speeds up to 1000 megabits per second. In practice, at most addresses in Germany, you will easily find offers between 100 and 250 megabits per second. The last type is fiber optics or glass faser, which delivers internet through glass fiber cables. If it's available in your apartment, the wall port will look like the one on the screen. A fiber wall socket, often referred to as an SC or APC fiber port. Unfortunately, fiber isn't available in every building in Germany yet. In the 4 apartments we have lived in, we didn't have fiber in any of them. That said, fiber optic internet is the gold standard when it comes to speed and performance. You will easily find plans offering 1000 megabits per second along with extremely stable connections and very low latency. So, the bottom line is this. During your apartment visit or after you sign the contract, check the wall sockets and see which type of internet connection you have. If you are not sure, just ask the landlord or the previous tenant. In many apartments, you will actually have both DSL and cable available. Our recommendation: if cable is available at your address, go with cable. It's the sweet spot between speed, price, and availability. Now let's move to the second step, understanding internet speed and choosing the right one for your needs. To put things into perspective, speeds between 25 and 100 megabits per second are perfectly fine for basic everyday use. Things like email, web browsing, YouTube, Netflix, and similar activities. If you're looking at speeds between 100 and 250 megabits per second, this is a better fit if you work from home, watch live sports, share the internet with other people in the household, or do frequent video calls. Speeds above 250 and up to 1000 megabits per second are usually for heavier use cases such as 4K streaming, online gaming, or larger file uploads. Our recommendation is to choose something between 100 and 250 megabits per second. For most people, that's more than enough, and unless you truly need higher speeds, there is no reason to pay extra. The third step is understanding internet contracts, starting with the monthly cost. In Germany, the price you pay depends mainly on the internet speed you choose, the provider, and even your address, such as the city or state you live in. On average, plans with speeds between 25 and 100 megabits per second cost around 15 to 25 euros per month. Speeds around 100 and 250 megabits per second usually range from about 25 to 40 euros per month. And for higher speeds between 250 and 1000 megabits per second, you can expect to pay roughly 40 to 70 euros per month. There are a few other costs to keep in mind. Many major providers offer special promotions, meaning you pay a lower price for the first few months, but the price increases afterward. For example, you might pay around 20 euros per month for the first 6 months and then 40 euros per month after that. To get a clear picture, always calculate the average monthly cost over the full contract period, usually 24 months, rather than just looking at the introductory price. If you use comparison websites like Check24, you will also see something called cashback. This is a fixed amount of money you get back after signing the contract and paying your first bill. It's real, we have tested it. On Check24, the cashback is already factored into the average monthly cost, so you don't need to do extra math for that. Another thing to consider is the router. Some providers include a free router, while others charge around 5 euros per month for a rendered router, which adds up to roughly 120 euros over the contract period. Our recommendation, if possible, invest in your own router, like a Fritzbox. It works with all providers and connection types, offers excellent Wi-Fi coverage and reliability, and costs between 150 and 250 euros depending on the model. This can be worth it if you want better long-term performance and control. The second important aspect of internet contracts is the duration and termination rules. In Germany, the standard contract length, called Mindestvertragslaufzeit, is usually 24 months. There are also contracts labeled monatlich kündbar, meaning you can cancel them monthly, but these are typically more expensive. For standard contracts, you can terminate after the 24-month period with at least 1 month's notice. If you don't cancel in time, the contract automatically renews for another year. Keep in mind, once you sign a contract, you are generally committed for 2 years. There are exceptions for early termination. If you move and your current provider isn't available at the new address, you can cancel. If you agreed on a certain speed, say 1000 megabits per second, but the maximum available at your location is only 250 megabits per second, that also qualifies for termination. Another case is if your new address already has an active internet connection, like in a shared apartment. With roughly 3 months' notice, you can end your current contract. And finally, if you leave Germany permanently, you can cancel by providing your deregistration form, Abmeldung, which we covered earlier. The fourth step is choosing your provider. In Germany, the major players are Telekom, Vodafone, and O2. Telekom is the largest, with about 40% of users offering the best DSL coverage, but it's also the most expensive. Vodafone comes next, with around 30% of users and is slightly more affordable. O2 provides flexible cable options and has a growing network. Don't forget about other providers. Depending on your region, you might find Pure, 1&1, Easy, or Deutsche Glasfaser. Our recommendation: if you can afford it, Telekom is a solid choice because of its coverage and stability, though it's pricier. If you're looking for something more budget-friendly, check out Pure or 1&1 or 1&1 in German. They performed well in our tests. And just to be clear, this is not a sponsored video. These are our honest opinions. So, how do you actually choose a provider? It's simple. Go to the website of any provider, Telekom, Vodafone, O2 or others, enter your full address, including postal code, street name and house number, and check if they are available at your location. The website will show you the connection types and the speeds they can offer. For example, on Telecom's site for a test address, you can see availability with speeds ranging from 16 up to 250 megabits per second. You will also see the special offers. In this case, you could pay around 10 euros per month for the first 9 months, and then the price jumps depending on the speed you choose. For example, a 100 megabit plan would cost 10 euros per month for the first 9 months, then around 49 euros starting from the 10th month. Don't forget about one-time setup fees, usually around 70 euros, which you have to pay. The second way to choose a provider, which we actually recommend, is to use Check24, just like we did it for electricity in the last video. Go to the Check24 website and enter your full address. Next, you can filter the results to match what you are looking for. For example, set the speed you want, say 100 megabits per second, and select the connection type, whether DSL, cable, or both. You can also filter by a specific provider if you have a preference, but we suggest leaving that blank so you can compare all the options available at your address. The typical contract period is 24 months, which usually gives the best prices. If you're looking for a shorter term contract, you can adjust the filter to 1 month and see what options are available. Once you have done that, Check24 will show a list of all providers available at your address, letting you compare both prices and user ratings. You can also check the detailed price breakdown, which is really important. For example, if we look at Vodafone offering 250 megabits per second, the first 9 months cost 20 euros per month, and starting from the 10th month, the price jumps to 50 euros. You will also see the cashback which you receive from Check24 after paying your first bill. When you factor in the discounted months and the full price months and the cashback, the average monthly cost comes out around 21 euros per month. You don't pay exactly 21 euros every month, but over the 24-month contract, that's the average cost you are effectively paying. If you are happy with a certain offer and you selected it, the next step is choosing your router. Sometimes the router is included for free, which is ideal. Other times it's rented, meaning you pay a monthly fee depending on the router you choose. For example, a station router from Vodafone or Telecom or another brand looks like the one on the screen, while a Fritzbox looks like this. The Fritzbox routers offer better performance, but it's more expensive. Select the last option, I already have a compatible router, if you already have your own Fritzbox router. The next page is where you can choose additional services. Often you will see options like a basic TV connection, usually free, so you can select it if you want. You might also see landline options or entertainment packages like Disney Plus or other services offered by the provider. Our recommendation is to leave everything else unchecked so you don't pay extra. Finally, the last page is where you enter your personal details and bank information. Once that's done, you simply submit the order and your contract is confirmed. The final step is installing the hardware at your address. After you place your order, you will usually receive a package in the mail containing the router, cables, and any other equipment needed to set up your Wi-Fi at home. To do that, follow the steps in the next slides. In some cases, after the installation of your router, the internet will be activated automatically within 30 to 60 minutes and you're ready to go. In other cases, the provider will schedule a technician to come to your apartment and activate the line, usually from the building's basement. The exact process depends on your address. For a DSL connection, as we mentioned earlier, the wall socket is a TAE port, like the one shown. You will receive your router along with a DSL cable, which usually has a TAE connector on one end and an RJ45 or RJ11 connector on the other. The setup is simple. Plug your router into the power socket, then connect the DSL cable. One end goes into the DSL port on the back of your router, whether it's a station router or Fritzbox, and the other end goes to the middle slot of the TAE port on the wall. If your connection is cable, you will use the TV cable socket, also called the multimedia socket that we discussed earlier. This socket has 3 outputs. The bottom right is for radio, the bottom left is for TV. So if you want, you can connect a cable from that point to your TV for channels. The one that matters for internet is the top output labeled data. Use the coaxial cable included in your package to connect this point to your router. It doesn't matter whether your router is a station model or a Fritzbox. You will have a designated port on the router to plug the cable into, and that's it. One important note here. Most addresses will have the standard 3-point multimedia socket, TV on the bottom left, radio on the bottom right, and data on the top for internet. But in some cases, you might find a 2-point socket with only TV and radio, no data point. In that scenario, you will need a multimedia adapter, which converts the 2-point socket into 3 outputs. Don't worry, if your socket is like this, the adapter usually comes with your provider's package. You simply screw it into the wall and now you will have 3 outputs. The left one labeled data is what you will use to connect your router. In rare cases, the multimedia socket might have 4 outputs instead of 3. Even then, it's simple. Bottom right is always radio, bottom left is TV, and the top 2 are both data. You can use either one to connect your router. Finally, if your connection is fiber optic, you will find a termination point in the building. From there, you will use a fiber patch cable SC-APC type shown in red color in the picture. This cable is to connect the termination point to an optical modem called ONT. From the ONT, you take a standard Ethernet cable, typically RJ45, and shown in blue in the picture, to connect to your router. Once that's done, your internet is ready. The second topic in this video is mobile internet, the 4G and 5G networks. There are 2 main ways to get it. The first is through a contract with major providers like Telecom, Vodafone, O2 and others. These contracts usually last around 24 months and give you a monthly plan with a set amount of data. This is a good option if you are buying a new phone, since you get the new phone and a SIM card with a data plan and you pay the monthly installments for everything. The second option is a prepaid SIM card like Aldi Talk. This is ideal if you don't want a long-term contract and prefer more flexibility. The main mobile providers in Germany are Telecom, Vodafone and O2. Telecom offers the best coverage nationwide, very reliable service and fast internet, but it's also the most expensive one. Vodafone provides good coverage at a slightly lower cost, while O2 has flexible plans with larger data allowances but weaker coverage in rural areas. Our recommendation: if you're buying a new phone, choose one of the major providers. For example, you might get a phone with a SIM card which has a data plan, say 15 GB per month. You would pay a down payment, maybe around 300 euros, and then around 40 euros per month for the rest of the contract period. If you don't want a long-term commitment, a prepaid SIM card is the way to go. Our recommendation is Aldi Talk. We have used it ourselves, so we can vouch for it, and this isn't sponsored. The starter kit is the most budget-friendly option. The smallest tariff costs around 10 euros every 4 weeks and gives you a 15 GB of 5G data. It's flexible, so you can cancel or change it monthly. The only downside is that coverage in rural areas can be weak, since it uses O2 network, but for most urban and suburban areas, it works well. You can get the Aldi Talk starter kit at any Aldi supermarket in Germany. It costs 10 euros. It includes the SIM card and 10 euros of starting credit, so you are basically getting it free. The kit comes with a triple SIM card covering standard, micro and nano sizes, so it fits any phone. Activation is simple. You can do it through the Aldi Talk website or the app. You will need a valid passport for identification, and it can be done either by video or at a post office in person. We recommend using the app and do video identification, where you will show your passport on camera to an employee and your SIM card is activated within the same day. First, check what type of internet connection your new home has: DSL, TV cable or fiber. If cable is available, we recommend choosing that. Next, decide on the speed you need. For most users, 100 to 250 megabits per second is more than enough. Third, if budget allow, Telecom is the top choice for coverage and reliability, but Pure, i99 and Vodafone are also good options. Use Check24 to compare providers and offers at your address. Always check the average monthly cost over the full 24-month period, not just the first few months. Choose your contract carefully, because contracts can't be cancelled before the 24-month term ends. Finally, unless you need a new phone, we recommend a prepaid SIM card like Aldi Talk. It's affordable and flexible. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and we will see you in the next video.